Let's stay in Washington, though, and speak to Trita Parsi. He's Executive Vice President of the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. Always great to see you, Trita. We had an analyst earlier saying that this is Donald Trump milking the Saudi cow. Is it more than that?
I think it's slightly more than that, but without a doubt, we're in a situation now in which if 5 years ago, the main leverage was with the United States, and the United States under the Biden administration and earlier on, the first Trump administration was pushing the Saudis for normalization with Israel in order to give it any concessions. Now we're in a situation in which Saudi believes that it can get most, if not all of those concessions without normalizing with Israel, which suggests that the power balance has shifted quite significantly.
So are we thinking that actually in terms of the wider Middle East and these regional wars that Israel has been waging for more than a year are not really going to feature? Because it could be that Riyadh has leverage over other countries in the Middle East, and if they're allies, Riyadh and Washington, then great things might be achievable.
Without a doubt, you're having a situation now in which the the Middle Eastern countries are showing far greater degree of agency than they have in the past. They're not just reacting to Washington, they're trying to shape Washington's conduct, its plans, not always necessarily successfully, but they're coming to these meetings with leverage in a way that wasn't the case before. What that will be used for, of course, remains to be seen. But Saudi Arabia has a tremendous amount of leverage in the region as a whole, and now it also has it with Washington. The question is, will it be pushing for something that is closer towards some sort of an inclusive security architecture for the region, or just bilateral deals trying to strengthen the defense mechanisms and arrangements with the United States, rather than looking at it from a broader regional perspective?
What do you make of the Saudi position and how it might help the people of Palestine when Riyadh says, we won't sign up to the Abraham Accords until there's an independent Palestinian state? That could be a long time away.
Certainly, but what I think the Saudis are saying that they want to have a credible pathway to a Palestinian state, which frankly isn't enough. I wish the Saudi position was that there absolutely has to be the establishment of a Palestinian state before there is any normalization. But I think it's clear to most that there's not going to be normalization anytime soon. Israel doesn't have that much to offer any longer. It is a huge weight around the neck of the United States. We're seeing how elements on the right in Washington and in the MAGA movement are reacting quite negatively to Israel. And for the region, Israel was never much of an attraction. It was just seen as something you needed to do in order to be able to unlock greater friendliness from Washington. But now we're in a situation in which that can be done without normalization with Israel.
What do you think of the internal criticism, especially amongst Republicans and supporters of Israel, that they're not too happy about the weapons sales to Riyadh because it will create more of a balance between Middle Eastern countries and Israel?
Well, the Israelis have this approach of wanting to have a strategic qualitative edge. The United States has put that into law, that the U.S. has to provide the Israelis with the best high quality, high technology weaponry and not provide that to anyone else. If the Saudis get the F-35, though, we have to keep in mind that is the most sophisticated airplane or fighter jet the U.S. has, but it has control over it. It can actually turn them off. And as long as the Saudis get the F-35 with that turn off button still in the hands of the United States, then a lot of these complaints from Republicans, et cetera, is not really that valid. It's more for show than for substance, because the United States will still control those airplanes.
And do you expect that there will be at least some kind of statement, whatever it may be, regarding Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan once these two leaders have stopped talking? I mean, that's the current hard news as far as Gaza is concerned. And Palestinian organizations are saying that they're being sold out. But MBS, he may well have a contribution to make here.
There will certainly be some sort of a statement or reference to it, mindful of the fact that it was adopted by the Security Council yesterday over the heads of the Palestinians. But I think it's important to recognize that regional states signed up to this. And I think they did so because they believed that it was the best option they had to get the US off of the previous trajectory, which was to just allow the Israelis to continue with the genocide. Now, whether this new plan really ends up in the manner that most people fear, which of course would be a very negative development, is not a complete certainty. I think there are opportunities and leeway for regional states, and Saudi Arabia obviously would be one of the more important ones, to be able to impact the actual substance of this plan going forward in a way that would avoid it becoming as disastrous as it otherwise appears to be heading to.
Trita, Parsi, thank you so much for your time.